Off script. Hello, guys. I do what the principal tells me to do when I'm in a school. I'm in a library. I'm threatening to tell one of my favorite library jokes, but I won't do that now. So on a very serious note, I want to kick things off, which is not with an off-topic, with a heavy heart, in fact, with an off-topic item. So New Jersey state troopers, many of whom are in this room with us as we speak, go to work every day not knowing, as the sheriff knows, county and local law enforcement are in the same reality. They go to work every day not knowing what that day will bring. And such was the case early this morning in Patterson when a trooper was shot and wounded. The trooper is currently being treated at St. Joseph's Regional Medical Center, and I have been told this morning by Superintendent Colonel Pat Callahan, who's been by his side, by the way, since the moment he found out about this in the deep darkness of the night, that he was in great spirits and he was surrounded both by his own family, his state trooper family led by the colonel. So I verified all that a short while ago. I had the honor to speak on the phone with the trooper, his wife, his dad, who happens to be a retired trooper, and the colonel. And the trooper sounded to me to be in very good spirits considering all that has happened to him. And I intend, and by the way, the Attorney General, Matt Plotkin, and First Assistant Lindsay Rotolo were also with the family, and I intend to visit St. Joe's later today myself to meet with the trooper and his family. We will ensure that all those responsible for this violent and heinous act are caught and brought to justice. Our state troopers, our county and local law enforcement dedicate their lives to the safety of our communities and our state, and ending the menace of gun violence doesn't just make our streets safer, it keeps them safer as well. So keep this trooper and his family in your prayers, and all of members of law enforcement. And with that, we'll get back on topic. And it's my great honor. She was with me when I presented my budget on Tuesday, and I'm with her again. I'm honored to introduce the Superintendent, Mary McLaughlin of the Montgomery Township School District. Great to be with you again.
Good morning. Welcome to the Montgomery Township School District. It is an honor to host Governor Murphy and local and state dignitaries today at our upper middle school, which services our 7th and 8th grade students. Governor Murphy's proposed budget includes increases in aid to many areas of education that will greatly assist districts with furthering their academic and social emotional goals for their students. The expansion of universal pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds in the state will increase the number of young learners entering kindergarten with a strong foundation of social skills, language acquisition, and self-awareness. Here at Montgomery Township, we are proud to be offering full-day kindergarten for our students for the first time beginning next school year. We greatly appreciate the state's recognition of the importance of early childhood education. Montgomery Township has established a Beyond the School Day program that provides skill-specific tutoring to students based on core academic achievement of all students. Throughout the country, there has been a noticeable increase in the number of students struggling with mental health issues. Recognizing not only the need to address this, but also the impact mental health has on the overall well-being of children, Governor Murphy has included funding in his proposed budget that will provide the support needed to combat the mental health crisis we are seeing in our schools. Addressing the needs of our students is a priority for all of us in education. However, the growing shortage of teachers has left many districts placing higher demands on their current staff, thus increasing the professional fatigue of educators. Governor Murphy's plans for increasing funding P-12 includes addressing the priority of ours by assisting teacher candidates with the cost of certification and providing stipends for student teachers. We are grateful for the governor's continued focus on making education a top priority and allocating the appropriate funding to support these initiatives. It is with great honor and pride that I now introduce the Governor of the State of New Jersey, Phil Murphy.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mary. Good morning, everybody. Again, Mary, it's great to be back with you again, twice this week, with your Deputy Superintendent, Upper Middle School Principal Corey Delgado. As I mentioned to him, I do what the principal tells me when I'm in school. And I want to thank the entire leadership team, all the educators and students for welcoming us to Montgomery Township, home of the Cougars, I might add. I'm incredibly honored to be here today with a star-studded lineup, including, and we'll hear from many of these folks, Acting Education Commissioner Dr. Angelica Allen McMillan. This is a big day for you. All the districts find out today what their numbers are. Needless to say, the numbers are good in Montgomery Township. Otherwise, we'd be doing this somewhere else, I would think. So, not to take air out of the balloon here, the suspense. We have the Senate Majority Leader, Teresa Ruiz, who's a great advocate for education. Another great leader, Senator Andrew Zwicker. His teammate in the 16th District, Roy Fryman, Montgomery's own, their other teammate right beside Roy. Assemblywoman Sadaf Jaffer, former mayor, I might add, not beside you, behind Mary, rather. Your current mayor, Mayor Deborah Keenan, more on her in a minute. NJEA Vice President Steve Beatty, along with a few other members of the NJEA are out in force. Steve, great to see you and be with you. Deputy Director of the Commissioners, Doug Singletary. Sarah Sui, Commissioner, is with us, I know. She's in the back. She's taking a seat in the back. Did I see Steve here? Steve Peters is here. Clerk, Sheriff Darren Russo. Darren, love you, buddy. And to all the members of law enforcement, stay safe. So I mentioned Mary and I were together 2 days ago when I put forward my budget for the upcoming state fiscal year, a budget that's going to allow us to continue building what we're calling the next New Jersey. As I told New Jerseyans on Tuesday, this next New Jersey is going to be grounded on three central tenets: affordability, responsibility, and opportunity. And unlike some catcalls I've been hearing, the next New Jersey is very, very different than the old New Jersey. Let there be no doubt about it. We've taken all the good stuff and we've torqued it up and added the right new stuff. And the combination we think is going to be sensational. But no issue touches on all three of these tenets more than education. And arguably no issue is as critical to our state's future than education. So today, as I mentioned, the State Department of Education is releasing the state aid totals for all of our public school districts. Statewide, we are increasing K through 12 classroom funding by $832 million to a total of nearly $11 billion. That's an all-time high, and it continues our administration's record of year-over-year increases in support of our best-in-class and literally best-in-the-nation public schools. This is my sixth budget. It's actually, as Teresa and Andrew and Roy and Sadaf, I don't know, you weren't there yet, Sadaf. It's actually my seventh budget. We had 1 year during the height of COVID when we had two budgets inside of 1 year. But as a general matter, this is our sixth time up to bat. And through this time, we have increased aid for our schools by more than 30%. Right here in Montgomery Township, state aid is going to increase by more than $1 million, a more than 15% increase from this current year. And looking back to where Montgomery Township schools were in my first year as governor, we will have so far increased funding for the district by 84%. And as Mary and her team could tell us far better than I can, these increases have been vital to securing the programs that Montgomery is so well known for. And make no doubt that every penny of this increase, every penny that comes through state aid, is a penny that doesn't have to come from local property taxpayers. That is a critical investment in keeping great communities like Montgomery affordable for families. As Deborah will attest, she and I were also back and forth the other day. There's a lot of stuff in this budget for local communities like this, and the example that she and I were back and forth on is just under $2.1 million for shared service first responder radios. Not directly related to education by any means, but something that's going to really help propel this community forward. But But at the same time, we would not be able to make this investment or the radios or other investments if we weren't also clearly focused on the state's bottom line and taking the steps necessary to shore up our financial future so we can ensure that this increase is sustainable across the long term. That's what it means to be responsible. Again, it's not just that we're up this year or we're able to provide the radios this year. We want a year in and year out. Give the schools the aid they need, give property taxpayers the relief they need, pay our pension obligations, whatever it may be. We can't be a one and done state. Those days have to be behind us. We are better than that. And finally, we know nothing impacts opportunity like a world-class public education. Just like the education delivered right here in the Montgomery Township Public Schools, among so many other districts up and down and across our state. Investing in our public schools is the right thing for so many reasons. Strong public schools ensure the highly educated and highly skilled workforce that New Jersey is known for and which is critical to our economic future. Strong public schools are a magnet for businesses who want to tap into this workforce. Strong public schools also protect the investments that residents have made in their homes. When public schools are strong and are looked at as a source of local pride, be it in Montgomery or any of our great communities, folks want to come in so their kids can benefit. Do we fund public education at the levels we do because we love our precious kids and want to see them get ahead and have the best life possible? Of course. There's almost an emotional passion about this. But may I also remind folks, it is a cold-blooded central tenet to our economic development that we want the companies to stay here, we want companies to come here, because not only will they get the best educated workforce in America, but they have workers who have kids too. And you want to be in a state like ours, in communities like Montgomery, where your kids can get world-class education and can thrive in the future, but in the here and now, that the companies, the families that we want here, come here and stay here. So with us today as well, and I will probably now embarrass her, is my colleague, Deputy Communications Director Alex Altman. Alex, can you raise your hand? She and her husband, James. Is James here? He's not here. Okay, tell him I said hi. Have chosen to raise their two sons, Harrison and Henry, right here in Montgomery Township. And the number one factor, and I happen to know this in that decision, was the strength of the public school system. Harrison will be starting first grade next year, is that right? And in a few years, Henry will be starting kindergarten, a program, and Mary alluded to this, whose transition to full day is going to be supported by this budget. So as much as this increase is being delivered in the name of Harrison, Henry, and the other precious kids, and every child and educator and administrator, it's also being delivered in the name of every Montgomery Township taxpayer. And even beyond, we are making these investments in the names of every New Jersey. I am incredibly proud that our administration's fiscal stewardship has made it possible for us to create a 6-year streak of increasing aid for our public schools. But this is what the next New Jersey is, in fact, all about. It's about living up to our values and investing in our shared future. It's about fiscal responsibility that ensures every resident is presented with real opportunity. And all of this is mirrored, no better place than in our public schools. Thank you all again so much for welcoming me and my team so warmly and so graciously. Again, to the principal in particular, I'll do what you tell me to do. It is now my pleasure to introduce my colleague, the Acting Commissioner of the Department of Education, Dr. Angelica Allen McMillan.
Good morning. I am honored to be here to support another momentous investment in education. Thank you to Governor Murphy, Senate Majority Leader Teresa Ruiz, Senator Andrew Zwicker, Assemblyman Roy Fryman, Somerset County Commissioner Deputy Director Douglas Singletary, NJEA Vice President Steve Beatty, and of course our host, Superintendent Mary McLaughlin, for being a part of today's announcement, as well as all the other dignitaries who are with us today. Under Governor Murphy's administration, there has been a seismic shift in the philosophy of our state toward finance and funding. The governor's budget has consistently reflected the priorities of New Jerseyans, and it is evident that the investment in education is necessary for the health, wellness, and stability of current and future generations. Since the first budget put forth by the governor, the state's contribution for preschool to grade 12 education has increased over $2.6 billion, culminating in a nearly $20.5 billion fiscal year 2024 educational impact. The governor is proposing an infusion of an additional $832 million in K through 12 formula aid and over $109 million in additional preschool funding. These are remarkable figures that begin to codify the meaningful impact of education throughout the state. Education is a driver of the economy, and a high-quality, equitable education provides lasting opportunity. Starting the education trajectory of learners earlier furthers the lasting impact of those outcomes. Governor Murphy has made high-quality preschool a cornerstone of each of his annual spending plans. This budget proposal continues our steady march toward universal preschool. For the first time, New Jersey has reached the $1 billion mark in funding for preschool education, $1.1 billion to be exact. That means thousands of families with 3- and 4-year-old children will be able to ensure their child attends a high-quality preschool, a proven factor that sets the foundation for success in years to come. It is not only the educational benefits that this investment supports, it is also the economic relief for parents and guardians and the employment of hundreds of additional educators. The investment in the educator workforce is a necessary investment in the ability to curate and expand this dynamic workforce. The governor's budget proposes over $20 million in new investments and other supports to help ensure New Jersey has the trained and dedicated workforce to provide top quality education to our public school students. These include $10 million to provide stipends for student teachers to help them meet the cost of living while working and studying for their credentials. $2 million for culture and climate innovation grants to improve educator quality of life issues, and the highly anticipated certification fee holiday, to name a few. This budget continues to make historic investments to advance our state, but there are also a number of items within the proposed budget that continues to provide innovative and unique outcomes for New Jersey students. This spending plan continues support for the robust implementation of the first of its kind climate change education standards, championed by First Lady Tammy Murphy, along with $1 million to expand the advanced placement and international baccalaureate programs in local school districts, and $10 million for high-impact tutoring, propelling New Jersey students to the forefront of academic outcomes now and for the future. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the governor's proposed state budget funds the 6th of the 7-year phase-in to fully fund New Jersey school funding formula, furthering the equality of our school offerings. While some districts may need assistance to adjust to new funding levels, the governor's budget includes $20 million in stabilization aid, and I commit to offering the support of the department through the continued implementation of the School Funding Reform Act. I have highlighted some of the profound investments Governor Murphy has made in education. However, there are countless more that demonstrate the unwavering support of New Jersey students, educators, schools, and communities. I look forward to implementing these investments and seeing the outcomes of making education more affordable. Thank you.
This is the Super Bowl day for Angelica and her team, because this is when everybody finds out how much funding they get. Thank you for going through that in chapter and verse. So the budget on Tuesday was proposed. We now have 4 months to work with our great legislative partners to take what's been proposed over the finish line by June 30th, hopefully beforehand. And we've got several outstanding legislators with us today. We're going to hear from several of them. Please help me welcome again a champion for many things, but in specific for public education, the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Teresa Ruiz.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you to the superintendent, the administrator, the principals, and everyone here who's allowed a North girl to come and spend some time with you this morning. I whispered to my colleagues here, I said, thank you for letting me in the district, but had I known how far away I was, maybe I would have thought about it again. The truth is, I would have driven 3 hours for today's announcement. This song I wrote years before I was elected to office. This budget is the choir of what I've been waiting to hear for so long. We're going to be set close to, this is a stat, hopefully it's accurate. I did get it from your team, so I'm hoping it's on par. We'll be at 76% of almost fully funding the school funding formula. That's an extraordinary measure. And I can tell you this because I was there when districts were told that surpluses were going to be removed, and the impact that that had towards taxpayers, to students, and to just the general day-to-day obligation of the schools. And I know this has been repeated, but I have my notes because the budget announcement on Tuesday, I have to tell you, and if George Helmley was here, I think he would pass out at all the nice things that I have to say this morning. The expansion of preschool, which continues to go on, keeping early childhood providers whole, doubling the child tax credit, 76% of the SFRA, trying to mitigate teacher shortage and diversifying the workforce. When I had a hearing on this several years ago, the statistic was alarming. 1 in 163,000 New Jersey students will see a person of color in front of the classroom. And that matters. And the fact that this budget is leaning into that space to address it is extraordinary. Student mental health, an appropriation that continues to mitigate learning loss. And so I will say to you that I am here as an advocate, as a partner, as a champion, as a warrior, and most importantly, as someone who's going to tell you this today. There's a lot of money in this budget, but anyone who knows me as a negotiator, and the governor can attest to it too, this is not where I'm going to stop in this budget process. If there is more to be had in making investments in our education infrastructure and making sure that teachers and the next generation of classroom leaders has an opportunity to better the lives of future New Jerseyans, then I'm going to lobby for that funding. Because this is the greatest common sense approach you can have to mitigating all other issues that face this country, not unique to the state of New Jersey. You know, when we think about the pandemic and what it did to the general population, we still have staggering numbers. Close to 50% of our student population is lagging behind grade level. When you do a deep dive to Latino and African American students, the numbers are extraordinarily much higher. And I say to myself, if we continue to make these investments with a strategic plan, with an innovative approach, one that will make people uncomfortable and one that will make some people scream and some people happy, but one that focuses on the success of that child, New Jersey will be a much greater place to work, live, and play. And so you heard it from the commissioner and you heard it from the governor. Education is synonymously tied with economic development in this state and across this country, but I would argue that education is the greatest civil rights discourse that we can have today in modern day society. If we make sure that every single school provides the optimal best, regardless as to zip code and geographic location, for that child to reach their potential to 100%, then our budget process in the future would be extraordinarily much easier. Put the investments in early on. Make sure that that mother has access to health care and to a public safety space that she lives and raises her children in an environment where she feels safe and that her apartment is free from lead. To make sure that when she's making a decision whether she's going to go back to work or stay home with her child, that she has access to affordable infant and toddler care. So that then there's a seamless approach to universal preschool, and that there's full day kindergarten, and then there's a community school that can provide exactly what Montgomery Schools is providing to every single family here. And I will tell you that when you really approach government in that way and budget in that way, you make a seamless transition from zero to taxpayer. And that's the greatest return on the investment that anyone can look for us to have. And so it is really a pleasure to be here with all of you today. I want to applaud the governor in his efforts during the time frame of funding the school funding formula, because that was one thing that never wavered. And so many bills have been, I do have a collection of pens, it's funny, bills that sat, lingering for years. And someone said to me, how are you getting all these bills done? I said, because there's an administration that fundamentally understands that making the investments early on in women, in families, and in children has a much better outcome, not specifically for a person who's dealing with that circumstance. We lose sight. See, the better Newark does and the better Newark children do, which is the municipality that I represent, the better everyone else in this room does. The better Montgomery school children do, the better the neighboring town does. It's a collective whole. This isn't about a bifurcated approach. It's about making investments. It's about seamlessness from zero to taxpayer. And how could we better celebrate on, so today's Dr. Seuss Day. Anyone would know this in this space. I started reading out to students this morning in Newark, and I was walking the building, and there's one favorite title of mine from that. But as the country celebrates Read Across America, and we fundamentally understand that from 0 to 3 you learn to read, and from 3 and beyond you read to learn. And so if we stay focused on those things specifically, the money is there. Now we need to get the money out the door, and we need to make those investments as quickly as we can. I'll always say to you, I can't wait to the places we will go in this budget. Still, these are great and phenomenal investments, but anybody who knows me knows that if I had the power of the pen, I'd put all the money in the Department of Education as I could, just because that's where I fundamentally believe that that's how we really turn around this state and this country. So congratulations to this administration for making that effort. Consider me a partner in this process. Consider me a problem during the budget when I want more money for school construction. But it is really an honor and a privilege to serve alongside an administration that recognizes that this isn't solely about policy. It isn't about people who hold elected office. It isn't just about numbers. It is about understanding that an agenda that includes the people of New Jersey, an agenda that is powerful for every single human being. So congratulations.
That was really well said, and thank you for your leadership, and I'll tell George you give him his best wishes. We're going to hear in rapid succession from each of the members of the rockin' 16th legislative district in which we sit. First up, your great Senator, Andrew Zwicker. Come on down.
Thank you, Governor. Remind me never to speak after Majority Leader ever again on any topic, especially about education. I also tell you, Majority Leader, I just came from Orchard Hill Elementary School right around the corner for Read Across America. What I learned is it's really hard to read upside down to the students, right? Because they all want to see the pictures. They didn't really care so much what I was saying. So look, as everybody in this room already knows, New Jersey has, as the governor said, the highest rated public schools in the country. And that's thanks to the dedication of the teachers, the support personnel, and the administrators, the board members who are all here today and across our state. Thrilled to be here with the governor, commissioner, majority leader. It's not the rocking 16th, governor. We're the sweet 16th.
Oh, sorry.
All right? Because it's March Madness on top of everything else.
That's right.
But to our superintendent, the mayor who is here, the county officials all here, grateful for everybody today. I'm the parent of 3 children who have gone through our public school systems and are now off creating careers of their own. That's not a coincidence. The education they got was fundamental. I'm the husband of an elementary school educator right up the road who reminds me every single day of the challenges that are faced by our teachers, our support personnel, and by our students. I'm the son of a high school public English teacher who surrounded me with books before I could even crawl and insisted that I learn how to read. And I love, I'm going to steal that line, absolutely. I learned to read and then I read to learn from the earliest days. I would not be here if it wasn't for those tremendous teachers. I would not be here if it wasn't for Mrs. Sullivan in Lincoln Elementary School up in Englewood, New Jersey in first grade, who held my head and made sure that my eyes were moving across the book instead of my head. But look, we're here for a very serious reason. Access to the highest quality, free, public education for all children is not just something we aspire to. It is, I would argue, a moral imperative. And the governor and his budget, and we often hear that a budget is a moral document. Well, this is a budget that acknowledges the moral imperative of high-quality education for every single student in this state, regardless of zip code. This is a priority that he and his team has outlined. It's a priority that we're here today to acknowledge. This is a future where every New Jersey child has that access. This is a future where investment, sustained investment in public education isn't just inspiring the next generation. It is, as the Majority Leader referred to, is a chance for us to change lives for the better. And this is not just rhetoric. Decades of research have shown that, as we heard, this is not just a good economic choice. Every dollar we invest into pre-K, we get $7 back on average, right? But we're changing people's lives. We're decreasing high school dropout rates, right? Again, critically important. But this has a societal benefit that often we miss, which is that there is a study that found that the more our children go to school on every year, mortality rates go down. So we are talking about saving lives on top of that. This is about access to high-quality education, access to high-quality jobs, access to lower needs for health care, access to good, long, productive lives. So the path forward here is clear. We must, and under Governor Murphy's leadership, we are the national leader when it comes to public education. We're meeting this moment by investing in our public schools. We're working to ensure that every child in our state has access to high-quality public education. I'm grateful to you, Governor, to all of our leaders that are here today for recognizing this signature investment in school funding, both here in Montgomery and throughout our entire state. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, again, for your leadership. I was going to say this earlier, but you and Teresa have sort of crystallized. Every state has a bumper sticker. Some of them are, you don't have to pay any income tax. Some of them are the weather is warm. New Jersey's is, and let there be no doubt, it always will be, we are the #1 state in America to raise a family, period. And we've got the chops and the proof to bear that out. So, Andrew, thank you. Let's hear again from your colleagues. First up of the members of the Assembly, Assemblyman Roy Fryman. The great Assemblyman.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Governor. Good morning. So for those of you who do know me, I love getting into the numbers. I love diving in and taking a look at the statistics, the impacts, the data. It's been covered. So I don't want to beat that. And we also heard about the morality and the importance of education. I'm going to go down a different lane then. And let me actually get rid of these notes. And get into, like many of you and others have mentioned, this week is Read Across America. And this morning, like others, just earlier, I was at Hillsborough Woodfern School with my wife, who's a teacher, reading to first graders. Now, I don't pretend the fact that any of those children are going to run home and saying, guess what, Mom and Dad? I heard from Assemblyman Fryman, and now I am now going to, this is what I want to do. I was inspired. I think we do that not necessarily for the children, not so somebody in a suit can show up and read a book, but we do that for those who work in education. That we show up and demonstrate to them how much we respect what they do. and how important their lives are and how they impact the future. When we do a budget and we show year over year we are putting more of our dollars and put a higher priority around education, we're demonstrating to those who want to get into education, we believe in you. That this is important, that we respect what you do, and we want to help you. Everybody who's in education reaches into their pocket all the time to provide for their children. Whether it's providing food or clothing or supplies, and they don't ask for it back. They do it because they're dedicated. I am proud to be able to stand behind this budget, behind the funding that we are doing, the consistent growth in it, read across America, and everything we can do, because I believe in the educators and what they do for our children and for our future. So with that, Governor, Commissioner, Senators, and all the other distinguished folks who are here today, I thank you very much, and I'm proud to be partnering with you.
Thank you, Roy. Roy, I'm going to run home and say I was inspired by Assemblyman Roy Fryman. So they may not, but I'm going to do that. One more elected official, and then actually two more elected officials. Roy and Andrew's mate, former mayor from right here in Montgomery Township. Please help me welcome Assemblywoman Sadaf Jaffer.
So proud to be here with everyone. I was thinking about my journey to this space and being here with partners that I've worked with in the legislature, the governor's administration, the president of the Board of Education, Zelda Spence-Wallace, our mayor, Deborah Keenan, and I think about how was this possible? And it's the same feeling I had when I walked into the legislature the first day. As a child of immigrants, how do I have these opportunities? How am I able to teach at Princeton University? It's because of that public school education that I received. And I think it's a revolutionary concept that every child, no matter what their background, deserves that world-class, first-class education. And we're making those investments. As you heard, this is a proposed budget, and the legislature is going to work with the governor. But this is extremely important. And as a mother of a young daughter who hopefully will be in this school at some point, she's still in elementary school, these investments in early childhood education, mental health resources for children, and addressing the teacher shortage, these are things that we've been talking about. I'm proud to serve on the Education Committee in the Assembly, and we're solving those problems. And that's why state government matters. I think a lot of people in the public sometimes don't really understand even what I do as an Assemblywoman. My neighbors are like, I know you're something. What is that thing? But this is what we do. We figure out how these collective investments, how this work together will serve all of our community and build a better future for everyone. So thank you, Governor, and thank you. And I know that we're going to get this through the finish line. So thank you.
Sadaf, thank you. My neighbors know exactly what I do, much to their chagrin. Madam President, to you and your colleagues as well, it's an honor to be with you. Somerset County is, I don't want to talk about politics, that's not why we're together, but Somerset County, not just Montgomery Township and so many of the communities, but Somerset County is really, really well run. And a lot of that gets back to the commissioners and the constitutional officers. And representing by the way, Chanel Robinson, who is the director of the county commissioners, wanted to be here, couldn't be here, completely unrelatedly. It's her birthday. So happy birthday, Chanel. But speaking on behalf of the commissioners, please help me welcome Deputy Director Doug Singletary. Doug, come on down.
So, on behalf of the county commissioners, it's my privilege to welcome Governor Murphy back to his favorite county. The governor has been a champion for Somerset County, and his support has been remarkable throughout both his terms. In particular, Governor Murphy has been a champion of education from pre-K through college and beyond. As the Commissioner Liaison to the County VOTEC and Raritan Valley Community College, I know the Murphy administration's support has been instrumental in allowing us to expand our capacity for workforce development and to ensure a quality education is available to everyone in Somerset County. And thanks to the governor's support, we are in the process of making substantial investments to both those educations that helps both towards equity and in providing the support that our regional economy needs. So I just want to thank the governor for choosing Montgomery to make this announcement. It's good news for our schools, for our students, and for our local property taxpayers. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Doug, and to you and your colleagues, keep up the great work. For some reasons, the microphone is coming in and out, but when I come up here to speak, it's working. So I'm not sure, is it a while? Is it me? It just went off. I'm a former actor, so my voice can reach the back of the room. Last but not least, both the senators mentioned this, and it is a fact that is at the core. The commissioner knows this. We all know this. At the core of the reason why we are the best in nation public education system begins with extraordinary educators. We don't have enough of them, but they're extraordinary. And I have the great honor, as we all do, to have, bless you, educators in our lives, whether my sister's a retired Boston City school teacher. She will occasionally call me up and speak in her teacher's voice to me. I know she means business. Many of us here have talked about educators in family, the influences that educators have had on us. I remember Mr. Allen in high school had a profound impact on my ability to write and communicate. A guy who, by the way, was stricken with polio when he was a young guy and became a role model at so many levels. We all have those stories. Family, our own lived experience, and we're living that experience right now because we have the best in the nation educators, and we wear that in New Jersey as a badge of honor. And please, on behalf of our many thousands and thousands of educators, please help me welcome the Vice President of the New Jersey Education Association, a really good guy, a great friend, Steve Beatty.
Well, thank you, Governor Murphy, distinguished guests, members of the legislature, of course, Superintendent, Principal, thank you for having me in the school today, good friends. My name is Steve Beatty, and I am the proud Vice President of the New Jersey Education Association, representing 200,000 public educators in every nook and cranny of the state. But I also stand here as a proud educator, having taught for 25 years just up the road at Bridgewater-Raritan High School in social studies. And the reason I'm here today, Governor, like all of you, is because we share deep commitment to every one of our students and their success, regardless of their color, their background, or their zip code. And when we center that as a core of what we do, we can't go wrong. And I want to express my appreciation to you, Governor, and of course our legislators for the process that now unfolds, but your commitment to the schools, and on behalf of course, Sean Peddle, our 200,000 members, because the promises you made as a candidate are the commitments that you're keeping now. And we appreciate that. As educators, we know what that means. It should make a difference, whether you're in Montgomery or Millville or Bridgewater, Boonton, what type of education students receive. And every student needs the support, unwavering, to be the best they can be. And of course, over the time, we've heard the statistics and the data, record numbers in school funding, commitments to pre-K, all those things matter. They matter. And as I heard the senator speak about, in my mind, the interconnectedness, and the class I was fortunate to teach many years was called Global Studies. It was a senior elective. We were able to talk about current events and all types of what I thought were real-world issues. And the one thing that they always get tired of hearing Mr. Beatty say was, it's all interconnected. It's all interconnected, because it is all interconnected. And I would get on my high horse and agree that education is the great leveler of all things. And we will look at statistics. Why is this country in this state compared to this country, compared to this society? And it all came down to education, especially female education, I will note. Because from that, all things, right? We talk about healthcare, we talk about the providers in society, and of course, the ability. Because when students have those conditions of unwavering support from their educators, their parents, the policymakers, that's when the magic happens, right? That's when we turn it over to I said our #1 public schools and our educators, my friends and my colleagues. When we're able to inspire our kids to be creative, to be innovative, to be lifelong learners. That's really what it's all about. And I applaud this budget and the work that we've done because it does make that investment in our future. But you also mentioned we have a crisis, and I know that from talking to my friends, my neighbors, my own wife, who's a public school teacher, about the educator shortage. And we thank you again, Governor, for the task force that has released a laundry list of items and for your a down payment, a start to where we're going to address some of those things to make sure that we are identifying, mentoring all the way through, and retaining our future educators, and especially our educators of color, for a diverse workforce that looks like our students, that they learn from each other. So I'm pleased to be here to support the work because our next generation are our inventors, they're our innovators, they're our artists and our leaders, and there is nothing more important than supporting them in every way we can. So I look forward as my perch as a vice president, but more so as a classroom teacher and the father of 2 students. One now is in an educator preparation program herself, although I try to convince her otherwise. Because our tomorrow rests on what's coming afterwards. So thank you, Governor, and thank you all.
Thank you, Steve, and to all of your colleagues up and down this great state. Thank you. We're going to continue to stay at this, the new task we have over the past couple of years, and that's getting more educators into the profession, holding it up on a pedestal, making it less bureaucratic to achieve success, to retain more. Had a good conversation with your colleagues yesterday about focusing on retention. So for all the above, deep, deep thanks. So as they say in Hollywood, it's a wrap. Before we break, I promised my now 21-year-old son, Charlie, that I would always, if I'm in a library, tell his favorite library joke. So for many of you, Angelica's heard it about 10 or 20 times. My team will stop scheduling events in libraries at a certain point. But I do seriously thank the principal in particular for allowing us to commandeer the library for this hour. So thank you, and to all the dignitaries, elected officials, super, deputy, board chair, everybody. It's an incredible honor to be with you. So here goes. This kid walks up to the librarian and says, "I'd like a quarter pounder with cheese, a large Coke, and a medium fry." And she says, "Young man, this is a library." And he said, "Oh, sorry, I'd like a quarter pounder." Thank you all. Hello, folks. Thanks again for having me.